2021 was supposed to be the draft year of great quarterbacks. There were 5 taken in the first round of the NFL draft, including, of course, the Jacksonville Jaguars taking the first overall pick and taking Trevor Lawrence. And to this point, the 2021 class has actually been quite disappointing. So let's run through all 5 of these guys and just really quickly kind of give you a summary of what they've done since entering the NFL, starting, of course, with Trevor Lawrence, who was off to a rough start as a rookie, disastrous year with Urban Meyer, and then halfway through his second year, it wasn't looking all that much better, but then there was a switch, which I talked about in, I believe, my last video, but Trevor Lawrence turned it around and suddenly is looking like a top 10, if not top 5 NFL quarterback. He has the Jaguars on the right path. They won the AFC South. They're looking like a contender moving forward. They have a lot of weapons on offense. Trevor Lawrence looks really well set up to be a top-tier NFL quarterback moving forward, especially with the pairing of him and Doug Peterson, a former quarterback himself, as well as a Super Bowl winning head coach. The Jaguars are just really well set up offensively right now to be a very, very solid NFL team. So there's no denying at this point that Trevor Lawrence was absolutely the right pick for the Jaguars at first overall. Second overall, of course, was Zach Wilson, who has had a completely terrible NFL career so far. He has shown virtually no progression at all. He's looked terrible in both of his years as the starting quarterback of the Jets. And of course, the New York Jets benched him several times throughout the 2022 campaign. So it looks like Zach Wilson is just a bust. Aaron Rodgers is there to replace him as the starter. It's always possible that Zach Wilson sticks around for a couple of years and maybe Aaron Rodgers retires then. Maybe Zach Wilson is ready to step up and actually does show progression and turn himself into an NFL quarterback because all the arm talent is there, but the discipline is just not there. So time will tell, obviously, but right now it looks like Zach Wilson is a bust. At third overall was Trey Lance, who is currently sitting third on the 49ers depth chart at quarterback, and he's sitting third behind Mr. Irrelevant from last year's NFL draft, and then Sam Darnold. So I think it's fair to also call Trey Lance a bit of a bust. It looks like the 49ers are going to try to move him in a trade at some point. Would not surprise me at all if he ends up landing with a team as a backup quarterback. And to be fair, he would be a very talented backup quarterback. His biggest issue, I think, is he just hasn't played a whole lot of football between injuries, COVID. He just hasn't played a lot of football. So he could still become kind of a developmental project maybe for a team with an aging starting quarterback. So just like Zach Wilson, maybe the verdict isn't in just yet with Trey Lance, but at the moment, he looks like a bust as well. With the 11th overall pick, the Chicago Bears took Justin Fields, who, for my money, is currently the NFL's most overrated and overhyped quarterback. Let me just feed you a bit of a statistic here. Justin Fields has thrown in his 2 seasons for fewer yards than Trevor Lawrence threw just in his sophomore season. Yes, I understand that Chicago doesn't have the same weapons Jacksonville has. They don't have an offensive head coach like Jacksonville has. They're not quite set up as well as Jacksonville is offensively. But Justin Fields has a lot of highlight reel plays, but he really struggles to maintain drives down the field. He struggles to keep the Chicago Bears offense on tracks. And frankly, he just struggles to move the football. Like, he doesn't account for enough yardage for that offense to be successful. And whether or not this is purely on Justin Fields or whether the Bears have just sort of set him up for failure is kind of its own discussion. But right now, the idea that Justin Fields is the franchise quarterback that the Bears have been waiting on, I think it's just too early to tell. If he gets some weapons in there and he looks pretty good this season, which he should have more weapons this season and be better set up now as a third-year quarterback than he's ever been so far before with the Bears, if he can't succeed in his third season as a passer of the football and maintaining drives, then I don't think he's the right guy. And finally, at 15th overall, the New England Patriots selected Mac Jones, who's had a roller coaster of an NFL career. His first season, he looked really good. In fact, of the 5 first-round quarterbacks, Mac Jones looked the most pro-ready heading into his NFL career. In year 2, Mac Jones was paired with a defensive coordinator to be his offensive coordinator, and the wheels completely fell off the wagon. There seems to be a lot of discord in New England. There's a lot of friction between the starting quarterback and Bill Belichick, and it doesn't look to be going in the right direction. However, if you're a New England fan, you should be at least a little bit optimistic because Mac Jones has a real offensive coordinator again heading into 2023. So if he can get back on track and sort of fix any issues that appeared in his game last year without a real offensive coach, if he can get back on track to where he was as a rookie and just pick up there and move on, the Patriots actually should be in decent shape to be a competitive football team. So at final tally, here's the way that I'm seeing it. Trevor Lawrence, obviously, he's a franchise quarterback. He's not going anywhere. Mac Jones looks like he could be a serviceable franchise starter for several years for the Patriots. The other 3, Trey Lance, Justin Fields, Zach Wilson, the verdict is out completely on them. However, Justin Fields is still the actual starting quarterback, so he has a leg up on both Trey Lance and Zach Wilson in that regard. So what we want is your thoughts and opinions on these 5 quarterbacks from the 2021 first round of the NFL draft. What do you think about my assessment? What is your assessment of these quarterbacks? Leave all those thoughts in the comments down below. Otherwise, like, share, and subscribe, and I will see all of you in the next video.